Hello everyone, welcome to the Ferreira Lakers News channel. Without further ado, let's get to more Lakers news, but first, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like.
LeBron James explains Lakers' failure in recent games, and could LeBron James impact a Lakers trade with the Bulls? There will be many factors at play for the Lakers in the coming weeks that will determine whether or not the team makes a trade, especially for Zach Lavine. For now, the team appears to be focused on evaluating what they have with their current roster before considering any upgrades or engaging in substantial trades. But if these discussions begin, many things will be at stake. And one of the factors is that LeBron James, according to reports, is a fan of both DeMar DeRozan and Lavine. This is something that several people have reported over the last week, the most recent being Jovan Buha of The Athletic. In a conversation with Bulls reporter Darnell Mayberry about the possibility of a trade for Lavine, Buha mentioned the following. Of course, Lavine is a client of Clutch Sports, and that factor cannot be ignored. The partnership between the Lakers and Clutch, the high-profile agency led by LeBron James' childhood friend Rich Paul, has been mutually beneficial over the past 5 years. The Lakers have naturally had an affinity for Clutch players during LeBron James' tenure and currently have 4 on their roster: James, Anthony Davis, Cam Reddish, Jared Vanderbilt. James has also always been a fan of Lavine, as well as DeRozan, as far as we know. Both players have long-standing connections to the Lakers and LeBron. In DeRozan's case, his desire to have been a Laker has often been discussed, and LeBron has seemingly supported the idea of the team going after him. In Lavine's case, it's not particularly surprising that LeBron is a fan, although it hasn't been previously reported. But Buha isn't the only person to have heard of LeBron being a fan of Lavine, as Ryan Russillo also mentioned it on a recent episode of the Bill Simmons podcast. I know in the past, I don't know what the latest situation is, LeBron really likes Zach Lavine. And when you add the Clutch issue to that, and I know people are saying, okay, there's no market for Lavine's, no way. Never underestimate the power of an agent to find a way to make this happen. I know Rich Paul even said, hey, I have clients on all these teams. That doesn't mean it's going to happen. But I think it's a simple adaptation, because I know in the past, LeBron liked Lavine. Very calm at this time. However, how much does it really matter? LeBron supported a Russell Westbrook trade over a Buddy Hield deal, for example. Just because he's a fan of a player doesn't necessarily mean it will be a positive outcome for the Lakers. Now, to be clear, there is nothing indicating that LeBron is pushing for any type of move for Lavine, DeRozan, or any other player. For now, this is just another observation to keep in mind in case trade talks really start to heat up. The Lakers may have won the NBA Cup, but they are now on a 3-game losing streak that has dropped the team to 8th in the Western Conference standings. Speaking to the press after their latest loss to the Chicago Bulls on Wednesday night, LeBron James said that the team is already feeling tired in the early stages of the season and that this has contributed to the 3-game losing streak. It's a combination of everything. I mean, it's emotional fatigue. It's physical tiredness. It's the tiredness of the season, and when you're not winning, obviously it's the tiredness of frustration. The Lakers tried their hardest to win the NBA Cup, defeating the Indiana Pacers. However, that momentum hasn't exactly continued, as the team has gone 1-4 since then. The team has lost to the Chicago Bulls, New York Knicks, Dallas Mavericks, and San Antonio Spurs in the last 5 games. Both the Bulls and Spurs have negative campaigns, and San Antonio's victory over the Lakers last week interrupted the Texas team's 18-game losing streak. It should also be noted that several players, including James and Anthony Davis, have missed time with injuries since the end of the Copa, which hasn't helped. Pacers also have a negative campaign since the NBA Cup final. While the Lakers didn't directly blame the tournament, it's also worth noting that the Pacers are 2-4 since the finals, so the same fatigue could be affecting Indiana. If the Lakers are going to turn things around and compete for another title, something will have to change, and the team has been linked to several trade speculations. One of the biggest rumors links Bulls star Zach Lavine to the Lakers, and The Athletic's Darnell Mayberry reported Wednesday that all signs point to LA and Chicago reaching a deal for the veteran before the trade deadline. February negotiation. However, Lavine is out of Chicago's lineup due to a foot injury and is not expected to return for several weeks.
Austin Reeves and the Minutes game. Hey everyone, it's Dan Woik, beat writer for the LA Times. Welcome to a holiday edition of the Times Lakers newsletter. I'm busy. You're busy. Let's get after it. A minute on minutes. Go into any pro sports locker room and ask a player who isn't one of the top stars about their minutes or playing time, and you'll almost certainly get the same public and private responses. Publicly, you'll hear that people are willing to do what's best for the team and that they only control what they, the player, can control. And playing time isn't one of those things. Privately, almost everyone wants to play more. That truth is unavoidable. But in the modern NBA, where star players dictate so much of the game action, how the coach divvies up those minutes is one of, if not the single, biggest ways you can impact the outcome from the sidelines. Lakers coach Darvin Ham's decisions when it comes to that have been regularly criticized by fans. It's a pretty easy target to be fair considering how simple it is to understand, and after the Lakers lost Thursday in Minnesota, he directly addressed his decisions regarding one player, Austin Reaves. Against the Timberwolves, Reaves was efficient in scoring 20 points on 50% shooting from the field, but he played 10 fewer minutes than 4 of the Lakers starters. The fifth, Rui Hachimura, played 34 minutes to Reaves' 27. I think where he's at is a good place. It keeps him fresh. Fatigue is not setting in as much, Hem said of Reaves' playing time. He plays so damn hard the way there are times where he's gonna be tired. But for the most part, I think his minutes are efficient. His play is efficient and he's thriving in that reserve role where he can be featured. But also we can manage his minutes. There's times where we run them in long stretches and we feel awful about it because fatigue makes cowards of us all. And we want to as much as possible try to protect all of our guys from having to experience that, and it increases the chance of injury. Reaves has missed time the last 2 seasons because of hamstring injuries, but while he was banged up to start the season after playing for Team USA, he has been relatively healthy, minus an illness, for the bulk of the season. Regardless of if it's 35, 27, 20, I'm gonna go out there and compete as hard as I know how. Try to play the game the right way, Reaves said. I'd love to play 48 minutes, it's just not realistic. But like I said, I'll play the minutes that coach gives me and try to compete in those minutes so it'll help our team be successful. Now it could be possible Hem sees some potential for diminishing returns. It's a thing for nearly every player, a point where the minutes stop resulting in positive outcomes. But last spring, Reaves played nearly 7 minutes more per game, 36.2, than he's averaging this season. While he definitely showed signs of fatigue, particularly against the Warriors in the second round of the playoffs, that was with him chasing after Desmond Bane, Klay Thompson and Stephen Curry in the first 2 rounds, defensive assignments that could easily go elsewhere with the Lakers' revamped roster. Reaves is currently 5th in minutes per game on the Lakers, behind Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Taurean Prince and D'Angelo Russell. He was 3rd behind only James and Davis last postseason. Another player caught a bit in a minutes crunch has been Hachimura, who was 6th in minutes last postseason but is 8th so far this season. I mean, it's hard, but it is what it is, he said about his up and down minutes. That's what they decided. It's not like nothing I can control, I just got to play my minutes and do what I can do, defensively, offensively on both ends. Just be aggressive. Play harder. Bring energy from the bench, off the bench. The flip to all of this is Prince, who is playing 30.9 minutes per game, the most in his career and 8 minutes more per night than he played last season. After a rough start to the season at home, he's now up to 39.2% from 3-point range, establishing himself as the Lakers' best shooter, a skill they could certainly use more of. Add in Cam Reddish's emergence as a wing defender as well as injuries to Jared Vanderbilt and Gabe Vincent, and Ham's rotations have not yet been able to take a consistent shape. I think some games were good and some games were not. We still haven't even seen our postseason lineup that we were successful with last year, right? Remember that lineup? Russell said Thursday. We haven't even gotten to that because of injuries and things like that. Every game feels like something new, a new start, figuring it out. Okay, new guy, new this. 76ers monitor trade for Zach Lavine. Franchise also has its eye on OG Anunoby. The Philadelphia 76ers are eyeing a trade for Zach Lavine. After all, the Chicago Bulls star has already signaled his interest in leaving the franchise. Thus, according to Shams Charania, from the website The Athletic, the Sixers appear as one of the possible interested parties for the shooting guard. The NBA trade deadline is February 8. Thus, the 76ers expect to add another star to their squad. This is because, after the departure of James Harden, a vacancy was open. The point guard's trade for the Los Angeles Clippers, in fact, guaranteed several draft picks for the 76ers in an eventual approach for Zach Lavine. Furthermore, the franchise can add pieces like Marcus Morris, Nicholas Batum and Robert Covington to balance the salary cap. These names, however, are only eligible for negotiation from December 30. Competition. The Sixers, however, could face tough competition in the search for the shooting guard. After all, the Los Angeles Lakers, Sacramento Kings and Miami Heat have already signaled interest in the player. The Californian team even has Lavine's preference. According to Sam Amick, from the Athletic website, the star also welcomes the chance to play for the team. But, despite the interest, the Bulls have had difficulty negotiating their star. According to ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski, the market simply isn't there for the shooting guard right now. There is no market for Zach in the NBA today. And it wasn't for Chicago's lack of trying. They are still trying to find it, but it is complicated for several reasons. The contract is an obstacle, as it still has 4 more years to run with very high salaries. However, more than that, the doubt is its production. Many teams question how much it impacts victories, revealed the experienced reporter. With the league's strictest salary rules, everyone is wondering if Zach will be the first or second best player on his roster. I don't know. And on top of that, Chicago needs to receive value and assets in a trade. So, for a trade to happen, everyone needs him to get on the court and play well. And, with that, the team wins too, signaled the veteran. Alternative. If the deal for Lavine is not possible, another name that the Sixers are monitoring is OG Anunoby. The defensive specialist has 2 years left on his contract with the Toronto Raptors. However, at the end of this season, he can choose whether to complete his final year or not. Therefore, depending on the player's wishes, the Canadian franchise may make the winger available for exchange. If not, another possibility is for the 76ers to wait for the end of the season to try to sign the player in the offseason.